This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning. Good morning. So I think yesterday we're going through some scenarios, right? Right. So we have seen some scenarios for version controlling. Right. So nothing but so we just have removed some files and we are trying to restore the files. We modify the files. Also, we are restoring the files. Right. Now, so we have done it. And for example, let's say I remove a file in some revision 10. Okay. Then I like to restore it from revision 8, let's say. Then what are the steps? How to restore it? Yeah.
Then the file will be taken as a backup.
Yeah.
Then again update to current version.
Yes. Correct. So first we update to required version. So what are the version is required? First update it. Okay. And then next take a backup of that file. And then again back to update to latest version. And then you can restore it. Okay. Yeah, this is what we have done. And in the meanwhile, we just have gone through some scenarios. But the sixth scenario was regarding the same scenario. The file was deleted and I was trying to restore it, but I was not able to restore it. Why? So, and the file name was hello.java. So why I was not able to restore it? So restore was not success. Why? Conflict. Okay. Why there was conflict? What is the conflict?
Before we update, we have edited the file.
Okay. So out of date, right? So now what is the conflict? For example, let's say the file is deleted from, take an example like from revision 13 something. And so restore it from revision, some revision 10 something. Okay. Now, so we are restoring it. But so why restore? So I had an error. So what was the error? Out of date. So what is out of date? What is out of date?
We are not updated to current version.
Yes. So on our working copy, our local repository. So are we up to date? Are we up to date? No, we are not up to date. So, but the current version of the file is revision 13, which is what we call out of date. So if that is out of date, then what we do next? See, out of date is error. Then what is the solution for this? Update or not? Yes, let's update. Okay. Now, so will I be able to update it? No. Okay. So let's say in revision 10, okay, just one second, let me change the revision actually. Revision 10, it's okay. Revision, let's say, okay, revision 6, let's say revision 8 something. Okay. Yeah, so I'm restoring from, sorry, the file is deleted from, I'm sorry, just one second. So the file is deleted from revision 10 and so I'm restoring from revision 9. Okay. But the current revision of the file is, the latest revision of the file is, let's say, so revision 13 on your server post. Okay, fine. So now, since my repository is out of date, then I'm trying to update it. So when you update it, you'll be updated to revision 13 or not? Yes. Now, but I was not able to update it. Why? So we had some conflicts. Why there was a conflict? What is the conflict? In what case you can expect a conflict? Modify? So, one second. Let me just do one thing. Take you through one more example. That is what we're going to start with today. So, now let's understand with this example. So, this is a very, very important scenario. Another scenario 7. Now, so take an example. Let's say we have 2 developers. Okay. See, so far, so in our sessions, we have been going through only, yes, 1 developer. But what if you have multiple developers? Let's say I have multiple developers. These 2 developers, they are working on a repository and a file also. So that is a file they have been working with. And revision number. So revision is, let's say, some 13, R13, some revision number. Now that is the current revision of that file, revision 13, and for hello.java file. Now, so the file has some lines of code. Let's say the file has some lines here, class hello something. Now, so this is my file. And this is a file we have in, what is the revision number now? 13? Yes, that's revision 13 file. And both developers are working with same revision or not? Yes. And that is the current revision of your server also. Right? That's the current revision of your server, and both developers are up to date. Okay. Next, back to developer 1. As a developer 1, now I'm going to modify that file. Now in that file, how many lines we have? Let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. Okay. So in that file we have 7 lines, and among those 7 lines, developer 1 is modifying line 1, 3, 5. Let's modify 3 lines by the developer 1. So as a developer 1, let's modify some lines. Line 1, use some lines of code here, and line 3, also line 5. That's line 5. Okay. So 3 lines modified or not? What are they? 1, 3, 5. Next, commit it. So now if I commit it, so will it be success or not?
Yes.
Success. Okay, fine. The revision will be 14. So it's all done. Now back to revision, back to developer 2. Now developer 2, what is the current revision number? Revision 13. If developer 2 current revision number is revision 13, then so can you say that developer 2 revision number is out of date or not?
Yes.
Yes, that's out of date. Now if that is out of date, let's modify file again, but this time I'm going to modify 1, 3, 7. Let's modify 3 lines. Okay, so let's say from developer 2, and then from developer 2, and line 7, that's line 7, developer 2. So 3 lines modified. Line 1, 3, 7. Then commit it, and the result, will I be able to commit it? Why?
Because already the version has been changed by first cycle.
See, conflict won't occur right now. Conflict will occur when you try to update your repository, not when you commit it. Will it be success or failure?
Success.
Success?
Yes.
Yesterday we just have gone through that scenario, right? So when I was trying to commit it, so we had some error. What was the error? Out of date. So what is out of date? What is out of date?
Out of it is the current version.
So is your repository up to date as your server? Local repository? See, local repository division is 13, whereas my server repository division is 14. Then how do you say that it's up to date? So of course this is up to date, right? Now we are out of date. Then if we are out of date, will I be able to commit it? No, right? So again, so we just have gone through some couple of basic rules. If you want to commit your files to your server, make sure your local repository division plus your server repository same. No. So that is error message, and error message is failure, and the reason is out of date. Okay. So reason is out of date. If that is out of date, now tell me the solution for this. Just update your repository, right? Update the division, update to, so which division? 14. Okay. Next. But will it be success? No. Why? Why it won't be success?
Same file, different lines from different developers.
If file, okay, same file, that is correct. But are there different lines?
Yes.
So don't you see any common lines? Anyway, let me just explain it. So now when you update it, so what happens now? Conflict. Fine. Now what is a conflict? Or else, so what happens when you update your local repository? See what exactly update is? Synchronizing your repository or not? Now 14. So we'll be merging with my local file or not? Yes. If the file is merged, then as a developer too, am I going to lose my changes? Yes. Yes, I will be losing my changes. So if I lose my changes, then then what is the purpose of maintaining a repository? So am I going to lose the changes? Is see this is updated for sure. I'm going to lose my changes. Definitely, I'm going to lose my changes. So is it going to update your file? Is it going to update it? Okay. If it is not going to update it, then what is the purpose of SVN update then? See, SVN update will try to update your local files, but while update, so what it does is, so just look at, and then that's line 5. Okay. Is my file updated?
Yes.
or is it partial updated? See, very simple. What update means? So all the changes we have in developer 1 or revision 14 changes should be overwritten with my changes or not.
Yes.
But as a developer 2, now, so all the changes of developer 2 are overwritten by the change.
Not over.
Not overwritten? Okay, why? How do you say it's not overwritten?
There was one and there was two.
Yes. See, file is 2. I'm supposed to lose my changes or not? But did I lose my changes? So I'm maintaining my changes and as well as developer 1 changes from revision 14 or not? So then how do you say that its update is successful? No. So the same issue with this line also. What is the line number? Line 3. Okay. Then when we're coming to line 5, can you say that this line is updated or merged with revision 14?
That is updated.
Updated? Line is updated. How do you know that?
Because previously we have written only value, now it's been updated.
Yes. So here we're supposed to have developer 2 changes, but now we have developer 1 change or not?
Yes.
So this line is updated. But why these two lines are not updated?
Because line number 1 and 3 are changing both the same. Line number 1 and 3 are changing both the same.
Yeah.
And there we have what so I can update.
Yes. So look at these two lines, 1, 3. So why these lines are not updated means because these two lines are modified by yes these two developers. Since these lines are modified by multiple developers, so your repository does not understand whether these two lines should be updated or not. See what is update means? Replacing your changes, right? If my changes are replaced as a developer 2, I'm going to lose my modifications or not? So that is reason your repository did not update these two lines. Instead, so it has updated only line 5 and which is modified only by which developer? Only by developer 1 in revision 14. And how about line 7? Only developer 2? So line 2 is modified only by developer. So now, can you say that now these two lines 1 and 3 under conflicts or not? Now tell me what is a conflict. So what is a conflict now? So yesterday I given definition. What is a conflict? Local repository. Mm-hmm. Any correct definition? So again, look at back the definition. So now I just say again back to developer 2 now. I modify some changes. I'm trying to commit it, but repository is out of date. If there is out of date, I'm updating it. Then we have a conflict. So what is a conflict? Whenever you update your file, then the file won't be updated. Instead, it is going to maintain both changes from multiple developers. Failure. So that is what we call a conflict. Right? So if the file has been modified by both developers and you're trying to update it, it won't be updated. So why it won't be updated? If that is updated, so even a local user changes can be lost or not? Yes, I might lose my changes as a developer to local changes. So that's the reason it won't allow us to do update. That is what we call a conflict. Understand? Right. So now solution. What is the solution? And moreover, see, we have a conflict, right? Now, so do we have a conflict for the whole repository or a file or a line or some lines? Yeah. So see, conflict will happen or will occur only for the lines and if they are modified commonly in a common file. Now, is it a common file or not? And that too in that file, is it for all the lines? No. For which lines? Common lines. Not for entire repository or not for all the lines in the repository, in that file I mean. So conflict will be for particular file and also some of the lines in that file. Okay, so it does not mean that one line is been modified for that file. Your entire file will be under conflict. No, but the message shows that there is a conflict in that file. But as soon as you open that file, and you'll be able to see that conflict will be some of the lines in that file. Okay, so that is what is a conflict. Now, so let's try to look into how to resolve a conflict. Now, so for example, you are a developer too. Let's say you are a developer too. And this is what is your status. What is the status is? Conflict. Now tell me, how are you going to resolve this conflict? Or else or not? Your changes as well as developer one changes from which revision? Revision 14. Yes. Now I think now you can decide it. So what type of changes you like to maintain? Whether you like to maintain your changes or developer one changes. So that is, you can decide that. That is decided by actually developers decide. Okay, we don't decide it. So anyway, these conflicts will be decided, will be resolved by the developers, not by us. Okay. Now, so if there is a conflict, now the solution is you can have local changes, remote change, revision 14 changes, or else you can have both changes or not. Yes, that is up to the developers. Changes or all the changes. Okay. They can have local developer change or else both changes. Okay, clear? So this is what is the solution. So yesterday also we have same kind of conflict or not. If there is a conflict, now this is how you resolve that conflict. Okay. Right. So let's start with our repository. Where is our local repository? So let's do one thing. Let's remove that repository. Let's remove it. So we'll just create two folders here, which is for developer one and then developer, and open another window. I open two windows. So look at here, we have developer one as well as developer two. Now, first let's clone the repositories. Okay. Now, so but how I'm going to clone it is right click and then go with SVN checkout. Now this is, see, what is it actually? This is what we call tortoise SVN. So what is a tortoise SVN? Tortoise SVN is a graphical version of SVN. Okay. See, so far we have been working with command line or not?
Yes.
So what is tortoise SVN? It's a graphical version of SVN. So if you like, you can also download it. So let's say SVN, tortoise SVN download. But so this is used by the developers, not by us. Okay. Now go with tortoise SVN download and just so click on that. So where is it? Some version, whatever version, 64-bit or 32-bit. According to your version, just download it now. So and then install it. So you can do it. I guess that's easy installation. Just install it. I don't know where exactly the file is. Yeah, there we have .ice SVN. So just double click on it, that will be installed. So easy installation, Windows installation. You can try that. That's choice anyway. Now, let's move on to these windows. Now developer one and then developer. So once that tortoise SVN is installed, then you'll be able to see these options. Let's go with SVN checkout. But what's our repository? So that's our repository. So let's just enter that URL in the repository. Let's open through browser first. 137 and port number 84. The port 12. Right. That's the URL. Just go through it. So first try for developer one. So I'm just checking out for developer one first. URL. Okay. There's your repository. And let's do for developer two also. Right click, SVN checkout, and the URL. There we have checkout. Now we have developer two as well as developer one. So for example, let's say there is your file, hello.java file. I'm writing some lines of code here. Let's say something system dot out dot something like this. So how many lines we have in that file? 7 lines. Okay, save it. Just 1 second. Okay, that's your file. And then, so what's next? Commit. So go with right click here and then SVN commit. So just commit it and enter some message. So what's the message? Let's say, so hello file modified. Okay, it's modified. Okay. It's been committed. Yes. Now you see that. So look at here, we have green marks, right? So what does it mean? Those files are committed. And you will be able to see these green color tick marks once after tortoise SVN is installed. Okay. If tortoise SVN is not installed, you won't be able to see this representation, green, red colors and yellow colors. Okay. Fine. Now as a developer too, so is my repository up to date? No, right? So what do you do then? Right click, SVN, update. Now revision 15. Yes, what is the file has been updated? Hello.java file. So you can check that file. So you have the code or not? Yes, we have the updated code. Okay. So this is what is update. Okay, we know this concept, whatever, okay? But let's back to our conflict part. Now, so as a developer too, I'm updating it, then modifying it. So there won't be any issues. But if I modify it without update, then comes conflict or not. So that is what we're going to implement now. Let's open a file. Open that file. Now I'm a developer one now. Okay, as a developer one. So open that file. Okay, and let's modify 3 lines. What are they? Line 1, line 3, also line 5. Save it. So better we do it through command line. Don't get used to that graphical user interface. So now as a developer one, okay. So what is the file status? Modified, right. And then commit, SVN commit. So let's say file modified. Committed to revision 16. Next. So back to developer 2 now. Where is the developer 2? Developer. So my repository is not up to date, right? Yes. So without updating my repository, let's modify that file. So let's modify 3 lines. Line 1, also line 3, and then line 7. So what are the common lines? 1 and 3. Yes. Save it and let's open command line. Open command line. Now I'm a developer 2. So what is the file status? Modified and then commit. So something like file modified. So is it committed? No. So it's not committed. Look at here. What's the message? Hello.java file is out of date. Since it's out of date, so what do you do now? Update or not? Let's update it. Will it be success or failure? Failure? See, it won't be either success or failure. It will be conflict. Now, why would I say that it won't be success or failure? See, when you update it, let's say apart from hello.java file, I also have some of the files which are modified, but that is modified only by one developer. So will they be updated or not? Yes. So when you update it, it will be updated but partially. Now, so rest of the files which are not modified by multiple developers, those are updated except the file which is modified by multiple developers. Now, you see that there is a file, C stands for conflict. Now, is it under conflict or not? Now that is under conflict. Now, so update it to revision 16. Okay, but while updating it, there is a conflict discovered in hello.java file. Now we have the solutions. So what are the solutions? First option is P. So P stands for postpone it. There we have option called P. So P stands for postpone. So what is postpone is? Your conflict will be existing until you resolve it. So this won't be resolved. The conflict will be still existing, and once you postpone it, you can start working on other files. Is it clear? So, but remember one thing: if there is any conflict which is under pending, then you won't be able to commit any files. Okay. So if there is a conflict, and resolve it as soon as possible. Otherwise, it won't allow you to do any commits. Right. And then we have second option, DF means show reference. What is the show reference is? Enter DF. Okay, but we don't understand so properly from this screen. Let's do one thing. Let's open through the developer 2 screen. Okay. Now, so what is my file name? Hello.java. Open that file now. The same lines, even you see on the screen, the same lines. Now, what exactly the lines are regarding? So now, do you understand what exactly the message is regarding? There are some lines. So do you understand anything here? So same things. So how many lines are under conflict? 2 lines. So how do you know there's under conflicts? See, if you want to know if whether the lines are under conflicts or not, so how do you recognize this? So you see that less than and then greater than. If you see any lines in between less than and greater than, then those lines are under conflict. Now, of course, those lines are under conflict. That's correct. But how do you know what lines are modified by local user, or what lines are modified by remote user? Okay. Depends on version. Yes. If you see that dot mine, nothing but this change is done by local developer. If you see dot R16, nothing but this modification is done by remote user in revision 16. So I've just given these names like dev 1, dev 2 for our understanding purpose. Okay. Now, or else there is also another way. Look at here in between. So this is a divider, and in between, what are the changes you see upside up to that? Those are my changes, and what are these you see down to that? Those are remote changes. That is also another way you can understand what are your changes, what are remote changes. And also we have conflicting another line or not? You see that dot mine dot R16. There is a divider, and this change is from my change, and this is from revision 16, remote change. So we are maintaining changes from both developers or not? Yes. So nothing but this is under conflict. But look at the rest of the lines. Look at that line. So is this line under conflict? No. How do you know?
It's not between any of the.
Yes. So it is not in between like less than and greater than. So the line is having no conflicts. But can you say that is this line is been merged or not?
Yes.
Yes. And also this line, is it merged or not?
Yes.
Yes, the line is also merged. So there was no issue. Okay. So we have conflicts only for these 2 lines. What are those lines? 1 and then 3. Is it correct? Yes. Now, so how to resolve this conflict? Now back to that window. So there we have. So it is E stands for edit file, but we don't edit from the command line. We'll do it from the text file itself, and then merging. So merging and then mark as resolved. Let's say merging is nothing but you'll be your files will be merged automatically, and if you merge it, then all the lines, both lines will be maintained. So developer 1 changes as well as developer 2 changes. And mark as resolved. If you go with mark as resolved, then so randomly your repository pick up some lines, and those lines will be available as your which developer? Developer 2. Then if you go with MC stands for my side of conflicts. Who is my side? Developer 2. And TC means their side means revision 16. Right? Right. So for example, let's say before we look into these solutions and back to your developer 2. So this is actually our file is. But apart from this, we have 3 more files or not? So what are these files? We have hello.java. What is the extension is dot mine dot r15 r16. I hope you will be able to understand what does it mean. Let's first move on to dot r16. What does it mean?
The primary version which is making the website.
Server side. Yes. That's a file from revision 16 on server. That's why the file is R16. So in revision 16, so which developer has done modifications? Developer 1. Okay. Then we have dot mine. Dot mine means
Whatever the changes are made.
yeah, local user or local developer changes. Local developer changes? Yes. And then so R15,
Yes.
yes, that's earlier version. So what is the current version is? 16. And what is the earlier version? 15. So the previous version was 15. So you can see. So why these files are created? See, these files are created for reference purpose. Okay. Now you can compare it. For example, I'm a developer. Now I have a conflict. So assume that you have about hundreds of lines in your file. Then, if you want to cross check it, verify. So what lines we have, what lines we don't have, what lines we modified. So if you want to verify them, so you must so check those files for your reference purpose. So I want to check files changes done in revision 16. Open the revision 16 file and look at that file. Or you want to see only changes done by you. Open the .mine file and then check the changes. Okay. So, but these files, the files whatever are available, .mine, .r15, r16 files. So these files will be removed once conflict is resolved. So did we create those files? No, right? These are your repository files. These conflicts, these files will be resolved as soon as conflict is resolved. Now, so go with the solution now. Let's say I go with the option called, what is the option is? MC. My side of conflicts. Okay. Now, enter. Conflict is resolved. Okay. And open that file, developer 2. So do we have other files? R16, R15, mine file? No, we don't have those files. Those files are deleted and plus open that file. So which user changes we see now? How many lines there was a conflict? 1 and 3. Now are the files are deleted? Are the lines from developer 1 in line 1, line 3, are they removed or not? Yes. The lines are deleted. So we are maintaining only developer 2 changes. But why in this line 5 we have developer 1 change? Yes. So the line 5 was already merged. So there was no conflict. Since line was already merged, so it is maintaining still developer 1 changes. Okay. Next, so go with SVN commit. SVN commit. Let's say conflict resolved. Okay, and then that's it. Revision 17 and check your file. Revision 17. Refresh. We have developer 2 changes. Okay, and now as a developer 1, I'm a developer 1. So what do I do? Always update. So make sure your repository is up to date. Let's update it. Now update it. So developer 1 and find out. So 1 second. So we have developer 2 changes. Even though I'm a developer 1, so I have developer 2 changes. Okay, clear? So understand the conflict? Fine. So it's very easy. Understand the process or logic, how it works. That is important. Commands are very easy commands. See, nothing. We are not used some new commands today. No, nothing. No command is new for us. All the commands are familiar commands. So we have been using them, and but so you should know what command has to be used, and when we have that kind of conflict. That is important. So, say repository concepts or repository tools are like the most easiest tools among all the tools in DevOps, and which are more interesting anyway. So, now let me just, okay, this is one scenario. So that's the seventh scenario, and your eighth scenario is, and this scenario you can practice from your side. So in the seventh scenario, there was a conflict for one file. But what if you have a conflict for multiple files? Okay, so let's say I have 2 files and we have conflict for both files, and then resolve it. So here I just say I have file 1, also file 2. These 2 files modified by developer 1 and then developer 2, also same lines, and same as with, so file 2 and then developer 1, developer 2. Okay, so then you'll be having conflicts for both files or not. Then how to resolve it? That's your eighth scenario. So make sure you just practice all the scenarios, and these scenarios are, so will be repeated even in our other repositories like Git or GitHub. So if you're able to practice these scenarios, and then that makes your job easy in understanding our other repositories, other version control tools. Now let's move on to so now take an example. We are development team, and in my team we have 10 developers. Okay. Now, so each developer is doing about, let's say, 10 developers, and each developer is doing about 10 commits. Okay. Fine. So now tell me how many commits will be totally? 100 commits or not? Right. Fine. So these 100 commits will take place on server or not? Is it clear? Right. So how many times these developers are trying to hit the server or trying to reach the server? 100 times? Yes, because we have 100 commits totally. So we have totally 100 commits. Since we have 100 commits, then so 100 times these developers are communicating with your server, repository on the server. Okay. So, but assume that. So while I commit it, so I'm committing about, let's say, the commit is taking place about at least a minute because I'm committing large amount of files. Let's say some 2 MB, 3 MB, 5 MB. So since I'm committing large amount of files, so these commits are taking some time. Let's say each commit is taking at least about 30 seconds, assume that. Then, so we are doing about 100 commits. So it will be about 300 seconds. Is it clear? Yeah. So now in this case, so you will be having issue with performance of your server or not? can you say that your server will be having some performance issues? What is performance issue? Server slow down? Yes, because too many number of commits and many users are committing same time onto the server. Yes, definitely there will be server performance issue. If we have a server performance issue, then can you access the files? Can you do commits quickly? No. Then what's the solution now? What is the solution? So we have performance issue. Then we must maintain our server performance. So how do you maintain your server performance? By creating another server? Okay. So we have server 1. Then I'm going to automatically set up another server, and that server will be acting as, so let's say it's kind of a, what you call, replica of it, copy of it. And that server can be used to do commits from, some of the developers will be committing from server 1, some other developers will be committing from server 2. This is what we call auto scale concept anyway. But so I don't prefer this methodology. I don't prefer that. Why? Because again, it is involved in servers, hardwares, and the cost. So I don't prefer that. I maintain only one server. Now, if you maintain one server, then how you can maintain your server performance? So then we have a solution. So what is the solution now? So these 10 developers, so they're committing, right? Let's allow these developers to do commit on local repository. See, usually, so developers will be committing on server repository or not? Yes. But now developers are doing commits on local repository. Okay. So now each developer maintains their own local repository or not? We know that. We know working copies, right? So let the developers so do the commits on local working copies or local repository. Now, so how many commits are they doing? 10 developers and then 10 commits. So, but where are these commits? Locally or not? As a developer 1, let's say I'm a developer 1. So I'm doing commit. Let's say 10 commits, right? Each developer is doing 10 commits. So it's on local repository. But if the changes are done by or if the commits are done by these developers locally, the question is how other developers can access your changes. See, now as a developer 3, let's say, as a developer 3, can I access the changes of developer 1, developer 2? No. Why? Yeah, that is not centralized. So what is centralized means? It's not available on remote. So on server, I mean, yes. So then I go with push the changes to where? Server, yes. Then I will be pushing the changes to the server. Let's say push to server. But how many pushes I will be doing? Only one push. This user is doing about 2 pushes, let's say. So you can do 1 push or 2 pushes, that's upon your choice. But how many commits? 10 commits each. Now, so in this way, can I improve my server performance or not? Yes? What? How you can maintain your server performance?
Because multiple requests will be created and some comments will be done.
Yeah. So in the previous example, so there are about 100 times developers are doing commits onto the server. But here, how many times these developers are trying to reach server? Only once or twice. So number of times developers are trying to access the server is been reduced or not. So in that way, I can maintain your server performance or not? Yes. Is it clear? So can I say that? So your server load is been distributed. So is the server load is distributed? Yes. How this is distributed? How the load is distributed? Or what is distributing? What is distributing? Sorry? What do you mean distributing the load?
Giving either
Yeah, like see. So here we have developers, right? We have developer 1 and then developer 2 and then developer 3. So these developers, let's say we have 10 developers, right? So these developers are doing commits locally or not? If commits are done locally, then server uh, load is being reduced or not? How come this is reduced? Because the load is distributed to the developer's local repository, right? So developer's local repository is sharing the load of your server. How? By allowing the users commit on local repository. So to be simple, developer's local repository working as a server. So that is the reason it's allowing these developers to do commits locally.
This stage will be the conflicts.
Those conflicts will be everywhere, every time, any repository. Okay, definitely there will be conflicts. Without conflicts, there is no repository. Okay, now, so since load is distributed, then can I call this kind of architecture as DVCS architecture? What is DVCS architecture? Distributed version control system architecture. So in DVCS architecture, your load is reduced on local repository. Okay, fine. So this is advantage of DVCS architecture, distributed version control system architecture. Now that's a very, very important point. So there are many interviews. You can expect this question. So what is DVCS architecture and what are the examples for that? So what are the advantages of DVCS architecture? Okay. Now, so let's talk about this DVCS architecture. Hope you understand the architecture, right? Is architecture clear? Right. So if the architecture is clear, let's talk about now. So what are the examples or what are the repositories follow this kind of DVCS architecture? So we have Git and then GitHub. So Git and GitHub follows DVCS. Fine. And whereas our SVN subversion, so what kind of architecture does it follow? SVN follows a client server architecture. Client server architecture. So DVCS is client then followed by Git and GitHub, whereas SVN follows client server architecture. Okay, am I clear? So which architecture we prefer then? Which tool we prefer? Git and GitHub? Okay. But the difference between Git and GitHub, what's the difference? So these two tools follows, Git and GitHub follows same kind of architecture, of course. Architecture level, they are same. But what is the difference between these Git and GitHub? Yes. Right. So GitHub is a cloud-based repository, whereas Git is server-based. It is server-based repository. That's the difference. But architecture level, they follow same kind of architecture or not? Yes, they follow same architecture, but the type of repository they follow is, which is GitHub is a cloud-based, Git is server-based. Okay. Now, so let's move on to one more point. Let's talk about commits again. Okay. Now, the question is, as a developer one. Okay. Now, as a developer one, so I'm committing it. Okay. Now, so when you commit it, now tell me, so what will be committed? What happens when you commit it? Simply, what happens when you commit it? In SVN or any kind of repository, what happens when you commit it?
Changes made are committed to the server.
Yes. So data will be committed to the server? Okay. Data, files. Okay. Anything else? What else will happen when it is committed?
It's,
Yeah, rates. Correct. What is it? Sorry? What is it? What it creates? Of course, that is what is data, right? What else will happen when you commit it? We have seen it so far. We have been working on this repositories in last 4 days. What happens when you commit it? Revisions? Yes, revisions. Okay, what else? Where do you find these revisions?
in the repository.
In server repository, of course. But how do you check that revision? For example, I'm a developer. I want to check the revision numbers. So how do you check the revision numbers? What will be created? What else will be created? Of course. Where do you find the revision number? Logs. So in logs, we have revision numbers, right? But when you talk in terms of Git, we call it, we don't call them revisions, we call them commit IDs, or else you can call it child. Commit ID or child. Okay. But these commit IDs, these child is not in terms of just like in subversion. In subversion, we have the revision numbers, right? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. But these commit IDs are not in readable format. That is something like this, which is in 32 numbers. It's a random generated number, commit ID, right? So this is what is your commit ID. Commit ID will be in random 32 numbers. It's not like, so 1, 2, 3, 4, like in subversion. So this is not in readable format. Okay, next. But so in logs, what else you see? So what else you see in logs? Sorry? Okay, fine. Your developer, right? Which developer did commit that file? Timestamp. Okay. So timestamp means time as well as date. Okay. Anything else? Message. You can say. Message. And also in Git, we also see, apart from developer name, we also see developer email. We also see developer email. We see developer name, of course, as well as developer email ID also. Okay, so this is what exactly will be committed. So when you commit it, now tell me, when you push it, let's say I'm pushing it, right? So when you push it, so what will be pushed now? What will be pushed? Data. So pushing to where? Pushing to server or not?
Yes.
Data plus what else? So where are these logs? Yes, correct. See, when you commit it, the logs and data will be available on local repository or not? Now, when you just go with this, pushing it, the data and the logs will be available on your server. That is what is pushing. See, commit is on local repository, pushing is on server side. Is it clear? So that is what happens when you push it. So you understand the difference between commit and push? So when you commit it, so this information will be created. Now when you push it, data as well as logs will be pushed onto the server. Okay? So is the difference clear? Commit versus push? Now, so that is what exactly commit versus push. Now, when you talk about comparisons, so when you talk about SVN versus so Git or GitHub, both are same. Okay, and the first difference is SVN follows a client-server architecture. Client-server architecture, and whereas so GitHub follows DVCS architecture, distributed version control system architecture. That's the one difference. Okay. And what are the other differences? So we'll just compare these differences. And when we start technically, when we start looking into the architecture, we'll look into this how we understand there are more differences. Okay. Because some more differences we will be discussing, like we have a concept called staging and staging. So this is what we're going to start in tomorrow's session. So tomorrow's session we'll be starting with so how Git or GitHub architecture works. Right? So once we gone through that architecture, then we'll move on to setting up our GitHub repository. For the next 3 days, we'll be working with GitHub repositories. Okay. And once GitHub repository is done, and finally we'll be starting with Git also. So we'll be discussing some of the concepts in Git and then as well as GitHub. But whatever you practice, whether you practice them on Git or GitHub, the concepts are same. So even not even a single command changes. The only difference is your Git is on server repository, whereas GitHub is cloud. So every command we use it is same command. There is not even a single command changes. But so we're going to practice these two parallelly from tomorrow onwards. But for the next 3 days, we're going to concentrate on GitHub, and which is very, very important. Right? So we're going to start with GitHub and make sure you just understand these differences. And so if you are not set up your subversion, please do set up subversion and practice those scenarios. And those scenarios are important for our coming sessions for Git and GitHub. So now we've gone through that conflicts part very clearly. But when you go to Git or GitHub, I'll take that conflict part again. But so we'll go through quickly because we already know. So when the conflict occurs, how to resolve the conflict, we know this. So we'll be doing it quickly, but we'll be doing on GitHub or Git. So you should be able to recollect it. What is a conflict? Why we expect a conflict? Now the question is: so do we resolve the conflicts? We don't resolve the conflicts. Again, that is developer's responsibility to resolve the conflicts. So, but look at here. Why?
But another part, we have to change to the
Yes. So look at here. Yeah, that's correct. Now look, we have developer 2, right? Yeah. So since we have developer 2, so these changes, so for example, this is my conflict file, is it? This conflict file, where you can see it. Who can see that conflict file? Developer 2 can see it, right? Not other developers, not me. I'm admin. I can't even see that. So since developer 2 has a conflict on local repository, he should be able to resolve it by himself. But still, so they have some, uh, they don't have this kind of knowledge how to resolve the conflicts. So we can provide some assistance. So this is how you resolve the conflict. Now in that case, we can do one thing. We can prepare some POC documents. So once you prepare those documents with these kind of examples, they can refer that example to resolve the conflict. That can be done. Still, if they are not confident, as then this is how you resolve it. Okay, but resolving conflict is not our responsibility. Okay, but we have more things actually. So I did not discuss all the concepts in subversion. I skipped some of the concepts. So because those are not so important, but the concepts, whatever are skipped. So those concepts I will be explaining thoroughly in Git and GitHub. So we have many concepts anyway. I discussed only few scenarios in subversion, but this is not so important. So our major concentration will be on GitHub or Git, both anyway. So we have something called branches, merging, and moreover, we did not see that user access control, securities, right? So all these things will be covered in Git and GitHub. Okay, yeah. Thank you.